Okay, let me just take you through the overview of what...
Cindy, just turn off the other device, whatever it is next to you. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, are we good to go?
That's better.
Sharp, sharp. Thank you. I just want to give everyone an overview of what the program is going to look like today. So I will start with my presentation and talk about what we've done this year. It's a slide PowerPoint presentation. After I will be speaking, it will be Monica Clark that will doing her. And then after that, it will be the video number 1, Foundation and Miracles by Auntie Monica. And then after that, it will be a video that we want to introduce as well to you. A question and answer session about 20 minutes and then ending off with a song as well. So this is what the program is going to look like for the rest of this presentation. So if we can start maybe with the PowerPoint presentation as well.
Can you see that now, my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yeah.
If we can go to the next slide, please. Okay. At this point, we just want to point out that we're very grateful for Billy Paulser. He's the one that actually sponsored the office that we're sitting in today. He's been also the one that's been mentoring Randall, the previous NEC of I Protect Me. So we'll see Billy Paulser in the middle there. He's the one that made it possible for us to have a place to work from. We can move to the next slide. Yes, this is one of our first schools that opened their doors for I Protect Me when we came here in the Eastern Cape in 2017. So this is the principal. There we see Auntie Monica, like we call her, being part there. The police was part of our the presentations that we've done at the school. So this is one of the principals that opened their doors. One of the first schools in Boyson Park in the Eastern Cape, South Africa, that opened the doors for I Protect Me. We can move forward.
So
Okay.
shall I show the video now? You want the first video now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Sorry, I just realized you probably don't have the sound. Can you see the video?
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
we can't
just
hear
realized
it.
you probably don't have- Yes.
Violence. We talk about sexual abuses, violence, teenage pregnancy discussed, and why we should not be involved in these things.
In South Africa, where about 1 out of 5 women is victim of sexual violence, there was an obvious need for prevention. Our team aims to empower school teenagers to resist abuse by setting their own boundaries, learning self-defense techniques, and also to educate boys to change their sexual attitudes.
They were really, really excited talking about these issues instead of just brushing it under the table as it's done in this community. It's well prepared, it's efficient, and it's fun, it's interactive.
Where are you going? Did you come before? No, there's no need. Just have a money there.
They've also learned from the movie how to say no, what to do when they are in certain situations and all of this. They're going to write key points, important notes about what they saw in the movie, and then one person in the group is going to represent the group and speak in front.
We need to respect each other, and there's where I Protect Me plays a big role in our lives.
I didn't want to walk around because the boys, they like to judge girls, but since we done IPM, I walk around and I don't care what they do or say.
I protect me.
Our main financial support comes now from Cecilia Damas International, but we need more sponsors to spread our actions.
If we had more programs like this running in our areas, I think we'll see a visible change in our community, especially amongst our youth. And that's where we need to start, is with the youth, because they have a bright future.
Thank you, Solon, for that. So that is just a brief video that we've done at one of our schools. This is also the second school that invited I Protect Me when we came here. So it's Chetty Senior Secondary. We're also working, it's a high school that we're working in. So this is just the responses from the learners. But we want to pause here and just say thank you to Cecilia Dama for International, for supporting us. We want to say our gratitude to everyone that's been supporting, not just financially, but supporting in terms of capacity building, being there as a mentor, to listen to our stories, to say, this is what we need, this is how we can take this forward. If you haven't been there, if you haven't supported us, we think specifically about the after school program as well, that we were started here with 5 different schools, to make sure that the younger generation and younger primary schools are reached by our prevention workers. So we just want to say thank you. We want to say thank you because we also were given a car sponsored, a car so that we can become mobile and reach our beneficiaries and more people that we can reach on a daily basis, even increasing the schools that we're working in. At the moment when we started in I Protect Me, we worked in about 2 schools. We had an after school program in about 4 schools. Now we've got about 6 schools now. We've got 3 high schools that we're working in, and we've got a broad community that we're working from. Solon, if we can just go back to the slide, the PowerPoint presentation, please.
Have you got it?
Yes. So I just wanted to say this is the team of I Protect Me, and as you can see, we've got more members here or volunteers that are part of this team. So they've been here to make a success, whatever vision, the vision that we had to carry on. This is the team that made sure this vision was carried through. We can move to the next slide. Here we see the visit when Auntie Monica was here in South Africa, and we just have a meeting with our stakeholders to introduce her as the chairperson and to say, let's talk, let's get around the table and talk about what is it that's affecting everyone in South Africa, not just our children, the adults, the vulnerable adults, and come up with ideas to see how we can work together to make this a success. So this was just one of the events that we held as well, and to introduce as well to the different stakeholders. Next one. So yes, what is our method? Well, how did we make a success of the programs that we're running? And it started with a social map. A social map is so important for I Protect Me. What we mean by social map is that we've got different stakeholders. We connected with different stakeholders. One of those stakeholders is the Department of Social Development. We've got the Department of Education that's part of our social map. We've got Nelson Mandela University. We've got the South African Police Services. Why is it so important to make contact with different stakeholders? Because as an NGO, you can't work in silo. You need partners. So our method Why were we successful? We started by creating a social map so that we can take hands with other departments, take hands with other NGOs, take hands with other community members that's working in the community so that we can make sure that our vision is realized by everyone. Next one, Saule. And yes, one of our fundraising events that we held, we were sitting around the table and thought, how can we make this a success? We need to do something to create funds for ourselves as well and to become sustainable. So this was one of the events that we arranged so that we can invite everyone and also introduce IPM on a higher level, on a higher scale, to say, let's come together as a community and celebrate what we've achieved. Next one. Yes, one of our success stories that we want to share with you. Training interventions that was done with people of disability. You know, it's not easy. Sometimes there's not a lot of programs that are available for people with disabilities. So IPM with another provider from Johannesburg got hand in hand together and just offered some programs for our community. And one of the things that we do say, it's not what the person look like, where do they come from? We reach out to everyone. So this is just one of the success stories. That speaks for itself. It's one of our, we can continue. So this year, some very exciting news. You could read that in the newsletter that we trained about 200 young girls during the month of March, which was Human Rights Month, to say your right to be safe in South Africa. A woman, irrespective of your young, you've got the right to be safe. So this is what we've done. We've done some self-protection awareness campaigns and training with the young people, and that included about 200 within 1 month. We just see them. So this is part of the training. We can go.
I've stopped sharing. I don't know if you wanted to show any other part of this. No, that's the end.
Okay. So really, I'm not sure in terms of my time, if we can just have a timekeeper that will just alert me in terms of the time. I know I had 20 minutes. As per the schedule, but I just want to say, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you. This is really just to showcase to you, but really what we wanted to say to you, thank you for being there, supporting us. And it couldn't have been easy, because if it weren't for Auntie Monica that started this, for her vision, for pushing it forward, for saying, I'm not going to stop, even though no one is answering, I'm going to push this forward. So with that, I want to give over to Auntie Monica. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Can I just, before Auntie Monica begins, can I just remind speakers to talk slowly? Thank you for our interpreters.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. I'm filled with gratitude. And Cindy, as Randall says to us, to remind us, we're going to be here for the next 100 years. And I Protect Me is going to be well beyond our 100 years. I want to say thank you to my husband, Hedley. Hedley, you were so very patient with me. You took up this project in your heart. When I told you what was happening, you told me you have to do something. And I said, Hedley, but what? It was you who helped me with my confused thinking, guided me so many times, standing in and keeping the project going. When we ran out of funding, never grumbling or complaining. When I, up to now still, spend hours in meetings and being away from you. It was you who helped so many times to stand in and keep the project going when you ran out of funding, never grumbling or complaining. Thank you, Hedley. You are our patron. I would love for you just to say a few words to tell everybody why you felt this was so necessary. Please,
Okay.
Hedley.
Thank you, Monica, my partner. We have a partnership, Moni, and I know how much you love your country, and I know what the death of Annie Boyson meant to you. But apart from that, it was you that was moved to do this, and it's your flame that makes the fire brighter, really. I don't know what else to say at this point, Moni, to be honest with you. I think that you know, we've been married now for what, 12 years or getting on that way. And it's been just so growthful for me personally. The most important thing is that you and I follow what we feel is right from our inner feelings. And we have that in common. We share the Latin, and that's the most important thing in the world for us both. Okay, is that finished? Done? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Hadley. When Hadley speaks about Latihan, the word Latihan, it means that we pray together. For us, that's very important. And I know that everybody in this room has come to be with us, believes in an almighty being, and I believe. So I would like to tell you what happened in 2011. Eddie and I had been married. I was living in France, and so many of these death stories happened with women being raped and dumped. And then there was this lovely young girl who was killed in 2011. She was in Cape, in the Western Cape. And you saw her little picture there. I was overwhelmed, and I really went on my knees and said, God, you've given me such a comfortable life. You've brought me here. But I have to do something, because I remember my own abuse. I remember how weak I felt when I was being abused by that man almost every other week, and I never understood why. There was no reason that I should have stayed with him, because I was a professional. In fact, I was the breadwinner in the family, and I didn't leave him. I was absolutely brainwashed by religion and culture, that you don't hang your dirty washing out in public, that you don't talk about these things, you don't throw mud in good people's faces, my mum, and family, and culture. And I was in a mess. Sorry, did I hear somebody say something? I was in a mess. So I wrote an article, which I sent out online and in the newspaper in Cape Town. I wrote about my feeling when I saw Annie Boyson, and I said, when I was 21, I married a man who mentored children and also molested them. I didn't know about this. But his physical and sexual abuse of me should have warned me. And then I wrote in the article, schools are the very places that should offer protection to our children, because there they are told they will find responsible adults who will help to create a safe environment for them so that they can achieve their best. And I realized that it is in school that many children, especially girls, are actually exposed to the worst of violence. So I was overwhelmed with responses to that article. Women in the very, very upper class areas in Cape Town wrote into me. I remember the first were two Jewish women who said, Monica, please, we have to do something. Let's get together and do something. And then I got an email. This was just like weird. This email came to me from Nairobi in Kenya. And this man said, we are working, I read your article. In fact, I didn't read the article, but somebody was on his way on a plane on Saturday night or last week, sent me your name and said, you have to get in touch with this woman now. This is in Kenya. And right, I was shocked. I then was in touch with them and they said, Monica, we'll come to Cape Town to help you. We've been doing this for years and years and years. I'll tell you about Dolphin in a minute. I went with this to the only people I knew I could speak with. And in my broken French, I went to speak with my brother Arnaud in France. I tried to explain to him in French, in my broken French, and he of course answered me in perfect English. And he said, Monica, you go what needs to be done. I asked him, why do you feel so strongly about this, Arnaud? Thank you. He said, we will help you. I'd like to hear Arnaud say what he speak for himself. Why did you do this, Arnaud?
Well, there are two main reasons. One, I found delighting the fact that to teach young ladies all the dirty tricks which are strictly forbidden by every sports federation. And the other was that we always speak of sexual education. That means teaching all the fact about reproduction, but they completely forget the aspect of the relationship, that man-woman relations are not necessarily sexual. They are much more rich than that. And I was interested by the other part, that educating the boys.
Can't hear you, Monica. You're muted.
I'm such a good girl. I just, when I'm told, I should know. I know. Remember, you were the one who said, Monica, we're going to find the money. You've got to go to Kenya. You've got to go and see what they do. Thank you. Now, I want to tell you what happened when I got to Kenya. I got a ticket. I didn't get accommodation. I just knew that when I was sitting in that confused airport at Nairobi, waiting for this man who I'd never met before, all that I had was an email from him, trusting that I'm going to be safe. He arrived there with his wife, and he said, Monica, we've arranged for you to go and live at an hotel. And I said to him, no, please, I need to go with you. They were very happy about that. It saved all of us money. And they took me into their high-rise block of flats. I stayed with them for 10 days and they took me around. Dolphin taught us how to work with children in primary schools. I arrived, in this, at the school with them. And you'll see from this picture, which Sheldon will show in a minute, I arrived there and all these little children were sitting on the ground, and behind the school, they had these in fact, the school had absolutely no running water, typical of most of our townships. There were no toilets. Ooh. And I went there and the children were standing up and singing, "These are my private parts, private parts, private parts. These are my private parts and no one can touch them. No one can play with them." Wow, it blew my mind. I came back and asked Cecilia Dahmer, please, can you get them over to come and help us? Because all the schools that they'd worked in Nairobi, same as in South Africa, have reported almost zero sexual approaches and especially sexual language in the schools, and zero abuse and zero bullying. Over the period the Dolphin was there with them, and I was very impressed. So Dolphin came to Cape Town and they taught us how to do it, what to do and how to go about it. Then by this time I was back in France and I registered this organization called I Protect Me. In 2013, I think it said from the certificate that we have. We registered I Protect Me. I'm sitting in France. I've got some women in Cape Town who I'd never met before, who said, yes, we're going to be on board with you. They gave their details. They became a treasurer. One became my secretary. Women I'd never, ever met in my life. It is the passion of our communities that drives our organizations. It's the passion and the need for change that makes us do things. So get into our passion and the miracles happened. Anyway, Hedley and I then got given some airfare from Cecilia Dahmer. Thank you very much. We arrived at Cape Town Airport and my sister was supposed to fetch me, send me a text saying, sorry, Monica, the car's broken down, can't fetch you. Whew. So Hedley and I are standing there thinking what to do. I phoned a friend of mine and she said, Monica, I'm going to ask, you remember Brian, our friend from the hospital days? I said, yeah, is he around? Yep. She said, I'm sending Brian to come and fetch you. He said he'll do it. Father Brian arrived. Father Brian came and all I knew was I had my baggage and I had a big idea in my head and nothing else. Father Brian opened our doors for us completely. He gave us the school where he was the chaplain, Athlone School for the Blind. He let us, he maneuvered himself because he was on the board of trustees, asked them if they could use the office, if I could have a little office next to the secretaries, if we could have a phone line next to the secretaries. And boy, oh boy, he even made sure that we had transport while we were in Cape Town. Father Brian, I asked, why are you doing this? Father Brian couldn't come today because he's on dialysis. But this is what he said. No sound.
Dolan, we don't have sound.
Okay, don't worry. I'll tell you what Father Brian said. He said, Monica, we are all
just
in
give me
this
a second.
together.
I'll see if I can sort the sound out. I'm sorry. Second. Where's my sharing options? Can you see the?
Go ahead, Monica.
You can see the
Thank
screen.
you.
Yep, we can see the screen.
Don't worry.
But it's very choppy.
Share sound. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's choppy, but
no problem.
I'll try it again. This time, I'll just
I
let
can tell you what he said. I can tell
us
you.
what he said, Monica.
I'm
Yes,
Brian
I
Smith
love this man so deeply.
from Cape Town in South Africa, and I thank Monica for asking me to be part of the proceedings. I had an interview with Monica before she started and launched this project, and she had a very in-depth discussion and interview with me why she wanted me to get involved. From the story, I can only say it was a sad story. And I left our meeting place because it was something that happened to her personally.
Something going on. Is this something? Was that just me? Anybody else? Oh, whew, that's better. Sorry, somebody, I don't know what happened there, but we're going to resume the video now. Please remember everybody to keep on mute if you're not needed for the proceedings or, you know, not asking a question.
And her family. And suddenly that song from the Houston lady, Whitney Houston, came to me. It's titled, I Look to You. And suddenly I could see why Monica was so open with me, is that she was looking at me to assist her with her dream. It wasn't long when we were in communication and where I offered her accommodation where I was living at the time, and she launched her dream of fighting back. And she launched this project in a very depressing township, of which it's not foreign to me, where our families, our parents, departed from us for work early in the morning and only returned late at night. We were left alone and not being given a day mother or father, but we had to fend ourselves. And it's from this that I think why this abuse has taken root so fastly and so quickly and so dangerously is because children today are still left to their own device, defending themselves from neighbors, from friends, and even father himself will try his luck, and in many cases will succeed. So I'm happy to inform you that all these things that even myself as a child lived, and experience made me more and more in what Monica was achieving. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Father Brian is very, very ill at the moment. As I said, he's on dialysis almost every other day. And we will pray for him. We will continue to pray for him. So we came to Cape Town. We started this. Father Brian gave us all the help, and people came, and the local newspaper he even invited, and we went all over the I can't explain how important the media is for starting anything. And we must stop being shy and modest. We need to tell the media what we're doing. They like telling us what the bad news is. So let us start telling them what the good news is, what we are doing, and how we are making a difference. Leave the bad news to them. So we started it. None of the original people can be here today, but we hadn't learned how to work with teens. I didn't know I saw no example, because all these school headmasters and school people said to me, the teacher said, you must work with the teens, Monica, because that's where the drugs and the gangs and the abuse in schools is happening. And I didn't know where to do, so I went back to the God called the internet. And I looked for examples, and I found Wijs Weerbaar in the Netherlands. Marika, I wrote to her, and Marika, who I also didn't know, went to her networks, and she said, we've got to go and help these people in South Africa. They raised funds for us by crowdfunding in the Netherlands to take some two trainers over to the Netherlands for training. They did it for us. She even gave her bank details. You know, when you're hosting anybody in Europe, you have to say you've got enough money to keep them going and prove it. She gave that. She organized for our visas, for their visas to come. And we went to Wijs Weerbaar in the Netherlands. The closest that I can come to what Wijs Weerbaar means is mindful resistance. I like the term. This is Marika speaking. Hope we're not running out of time, Solin.
Ik was in 2020 in Zuid-Afrika om trainingen te geven aan mensen met een handicap. Juist zij komen veel in aanraking met pesterijen, geweld, intimidatie en seksueel geweld. Eenmaal in Zuid-Afrika was ik geschokt door al het geweld wat ik daar zag en het seksueel geweld. Niet alleen toen het tot me doordrong op welke schaal seksueel geweld voorkomt, maar ook hoe het is doordrongen in de hele samenleving. Niet alleen mensen met een handicap hebben te maken met seksueel geweld, maar ook kinderen, jongeren, vrouwen, lesbische vrouwen en homomannen. En niet alleen op straat, maar juist ook in huiselijke kring, in instellingen, op het werk en in school. Ik hoorde en las vele verhalen van vrouwen die door hun man verkracht werden, lesbische vrouwen door familieleden, jongetjes door oudere jongens in de buurt, meisjes op school door hun leraar, enzovoorts, enzovoorts. Diep geschokt kwam ik thuis. Niet dat in Nederland geen seksueel geweld voorkomt, natuurlijk wel. Ik geef natuurlijk ook niet voor niks weerbaarheidstrainingen. Al bovenstaande vormen komen hier ook voor, maar niet in die mate als in Zuid-Afrika. Dus toen enkele jaren later Monica mij vroeg of ik mee wilde werken aan een programma op middelbare scholen om seksueel geweld te verminderen, hoefde ik niet na te denken. Natuurlijk wilde ik dat. Ik las de site van I Protect Me en ontdekte een prachtig project waarin veel vrijwilligers al aan zoveel kinderen voorlichting en trainingen hadden gegeven. Om seksueel geweld terug te dringen. Monica en 2 preventiewerkers zijn in Nederland geweest en hen heb ik kennis laten maken met mijn trainingen aan jongeren in het voortgezet onderwijs. Monica en de andere preventiewerkers hebben het programma aangepast en aan de situatie in Zuid-Afrika. Inmiddels zijn er veel meer preventiewerkers geschoold en hebben zij al op heel veel scholen trainingen gegeven. Wat niet alleen effect heeft op kinderen en jongeren, maar ook een positieve invloed heeft op de volwassenen om hen heen. Geweldig! Ik heb grote bewondering voor de preventiewerkers en alle medewerkers van dit fantastische project I Protect Me.
Thank you, Marika. Thank you. Marika couldn't be with us today. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but Netherlands is 50 years ahead of all of us with openness about sexuality. And they probably have the lowest rate of sexual abuse that I know of from my research. And I think that's why I was so pleased for her to help us in the Netherlands. Now we had the training in Cape Town. We came back from Marika. We were in Cape Town and we ran out of money again. So we had to think about which way forward. Because you well know, I'm sure, that in the third world countries, people can't volunteer in the European way, you know, where you pay your expenses and then you claim back. Unfortunately, in the third world, people have to put bread on their tables. So our program in Cape Town was collapsing. And then 2014 came out as another magical year. I received an email from a young man who said, I've read your story about one of our ancestors, Sachi Bartman, Auntie Monica, online. And then I read about your project. I would like to meet you one day, Auntie Monica. I'm living in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. Glory me, I'm an opportunist, right? And I remembered Randall's email and thought, we need overnight accommodation in Amsterdam when we come away from Marika. So shall I or shall I not? And I remember saying to him, do you mind if we stop over in Amsterdam? And they agreed. Lovely Inika and Randall and their 2 children helped us to stay there overnight before we got our plane back to South Africa. Then that year, Randall wrote back to me, oh, Auntie Monica, I'm moving back to Cape Town, to South Africa. Okay, I'd like to be involved in I Protect Me. Wow. Wow. So no sooner had Randall arrived back in Port Elizabeth, which is now Kaapberge, I asked him to get a team together for us to go to Cape Town for training, and he did. The rest I leave unsaid. Thank you. The work's not going to stop. Randall moved back to the Netherlands. I, by this time, and Hedley were back in England, but the work continues. Doesn't matter what the distance is. It doesn't matter what the time lapses are. If we put that idea out to the universe, Almighty God will pick it up and send it across the seas with the waves. Thank you. That's me. I want to now tell you, please, to just for a moment listen to a really, really good brother, Bruce, who will show you that the universities are we are in the same community, we are together. It includes the togetherness of our suffering, includes our government, our social, our healthcare, our government organizations and non-governmental organizations, and our academia. Now, Nelson Mandela University is our local university, and there we are fortunate to have academics who actually see the problem and enter into the problem. I'm going to ask Dr. Bruce Darmans, who came along for us today, who says, Monica described me as a son of a nurse and a cabinet maker, a father of two, and a husband to one. That's who you are, Bruce. I see you as a product from downtown with a knowledge of downtown and sub-economic living. I see you get up and go to the university. You went to Beverly Hills, where you served as a principal at the Sapphire Road Primary School for 15 years. Then you came back to South Africa. You joined the Nelson Mandela University's faculty in 2016. I would like for you just to tell everybody quickly about your idea of what a community school is and how the academia should work together with us in what you call hubs of convergence. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Monica, and good afternoon, colleagues from across the globe. Just a correction, Monica, the Beverly Hills that I started teaching in is Beverly Hills in the northern areas of Port Elizabeth, right in Katanga. So when you say I came back, I was at home, right at home. And thank you very much for sharing this space. And also thank you for sharing your story. I don't know the depth of your story, and thank you that out of pain, you are birthing life. And thank you for placing your soul at the center of your work, and that your vulnerability allows us all to learn. As a university, as part of our reimagination and our Vision 2030, we're constantly understanding how we as an institution could be of better service to society. But we always caught with tensions with the, with this preposition, are we to, are we with, are we of, and all those preposition causes a lot of tension. With I Protect Me, we see ourselves as a partner in society, as an NGO, as a university that's tackling what we recognize as a pandemic, gender-based violence in our country. And we realize as an institution that we cannot do this on our own. We cannot claim to be knowing it all. We recognize that Cynthia and her colleagues in the beautiful space, that a good friend of mine, Billy Paulson, are here for the first time. There's so much serendipity in your presentation today. These are the spaces of learning. Those are universities. That office that you occupy, Monica, is the university of life, the university of our country, because there's a wealth of knowledge located in that space. And as a university, our Vice Chancellor is extremely passionate about this, is how do we allow those knowledges to converge so that we jointly complement, not compete. I think the world is in a crisis, not only our country. We're in such a competing space that we have such global inequality because there's always this rush to want to be better than one another instead of understanding how we could be collaborating and completing and converging, in order to create a better society in which all human beings could actualize their full potentials. We therefore embarking, and this is part of the project that I've been seconded to reimagine the university in greater service to society by first of all having conversation with every spectrum of society and collaborating with that spectrum of society who has a passionate desire to want to bring about change. In the case of I Protect Me, especially as it relates to gender-based violence across our various communities. We choose, and our aim is to do this in a reciprocal way. In our country, we say there's a phrase being used, there's nothing for mahala. So we recognize that when we get involved in partnerships, everyone should benefit. But however, we understand the inequality, and some of us have more to give than others. And this is what the university has to recognize within itself as well. But there's wealth of knowledges that we can gain from years of experience, from years of experience of actually doing the work in our communities, like an organization, I Protect Me, has to offer us as an institution. And then finally, we also
Can I
believe
just
that
ask
there
you,
has to
sorry,
be.
sorry, Bruce, can I ask you
Yes,
to slow down a little bit?
sure, sure.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry so much. I guess, thanks, Olin. Yeah, I get that from my wife as well every day, so I have to work on that. Thanks so much. And so I'll just say, I'll just go back. So we strive for reciprocity, and the phrase I used was, "There's nothing for mahala." Okay, we recognize that everyone has something to give when we partner, but it has to be we have to partner in a way that those that have more in society have to take the responsibility to give more. We are living in an unequal world. We are one of the most unequal, we are the most unequal country in the globe. And we think that as institutions, we could do more in our space. And this is the challenge that our VC has laid down for all our departments. And finally, we should all strive towards outputs that should benefit all of us. So partnerships with I Protect Me makes sense for the university. So there's knowledge to be exchanged. There's articles that could be written. There's proposals that could be prepared for I Protect Me. There's assessment tools that could be developed in collaboration with I Protect Me that makes sense for the community, and not only for a particular space. So I think as a university, and just listening, and thank you for inviting me today. I'm glad I'm in this space, Monica, listening to your story and just the love that's in this space. I think our Vice Chancellor will be extremely happy with such a partnership as well, and definitely looking forward to working with you and understanding how best we could serve I Protect Me as I Protect Me serves our communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you so much. Thank you. The miracles are just overwhelming. I'll leave it there. Cindy, thank you.
Thank you for the session, Auntie Monica and Solon. I think we just need to pause, but I want to bring in someone here because we've been talking a lot about Randall, and I want everyone to hear who is our new chairperson and just a voice from him before we play video number 2, Solon, if that's okay with you. Thanks.
Good day, everybody. This has been indeed a very inspirational session, and thank you, Auntie Monica. Today is actually really your day. For anybody who has had any conversation with Auntie Monica, you know, she's not somebody that gives up. And you see now that she has, over time, gathered an army of people around her with her passion. So I am just so privileged. The first day when we spoke, you said the younger people will have to take this forward. And I said, we are ready. So, Auntie Monica, I want to echo your words saying that this is, I Protect Me will serve for the next 100 years, absolutely. And I would like to acknowledge all the people, especially all the members of SDIA that kicked us off from the beginning. Thank you. Solon, Hamida, and everybody that we had individual conversations with, you've encouraged us, you motivated us, you supported us, so thank you. I looked, for example, we mentioned already Billy Paulson, who became my personal mentor when it comes to community development within the northern areas. Thank you. We have Peter, Jacobs, May, everybody in the room who's helping us with our communication, our website. So it is a real team effort. So it is a relay. Not one person can take credit for this great work. It was an army of people. So I would like to say for everybody, especially also to Hedley, thank you. So I would like to close off by a story that I heard yesterday. One of the prevention workers, I don't know if she's there in the room, Robin, can you see her as well? She said, I had, for the first time, the confidence to stand up in the group as a prevention worker and speak. Now, for me, that made my day. Mr. Dr. Bruce, thank you so much. And everybody who's in this call, we appreciate your love. And thank you for your continued support. Solon.
Can I just say, especially to Billy Paulson, Billy, just come in and wish us, give us your blessings again. Billy has given us an office in a shopping mall right in the center of the city. Billy has paid the rent for us. He's put our brand all over in a shopping mall. And people know where we are now. When they come shopping, they come up to the office. Billy Paulson, God bless you. Thank you. I'm over and out. Thank you.
Monica, you're people call you an icon, but it's more than that. If I read the Bible, they are great women, and you remind me of a woman, Rebecca. At that particular time, she was a judge, the only woman judge, and she was married, happily married, beautiful. And this king wanted to go fight, and he asked her for advice to help him. And she said these words: if you're gonna go, if I help you and you win this battle, you're gonna take the credit for yourself. And this is what's happened. This is what happens all around. We don't really accolade our women and the people that have done things. And I'm sitting here today, and I'm so glad that you're getting the credit you deserve, the flowers you deserve, and you're still strong. I love you so much in your passion, in your zeal to do what you're doing. And I'm so privileged to be part of what's happening in South Africa and the work that you started here. So it's only a pleasure to assist wherever I can, in a small way, to assist with the work that you've started. God bless you richly.
So, Cindy, I think it's time for you to introduce the final video, or would you like me just to play it?
I would just like, yes, it's, Solon, I just want you to play it for now, then I'll just give an overview after it's played.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello.
Greetings to all, my name is Anissa Mnyanda. Greetings to all, my name is Anissa Mnyanda, a learner from Boys in Park High School. We'd like to thank iProtect Me for all the impact and what they have implemented in our school, because not many people would like to come into our school because of the troubles that it causes. So we'd like to thank IPM for taking their time to come to our school and see that they can make a difference in Boys in Park. Also like to thank them on the impact they have in learners' lives, because now we know how to protect ourselves against abuse and all kinds of situations, because IPM was here to encourage us and to improve our life situations.
Hi everyone, my name is Cindy Martins. I am currently the program manager at iProtect Me.
Good day everybody, my name is Geraldine Coco. I'm a field worker, a facilitator and a prevention worker at iProtect Me.
Good day everyone, my name is Leighton Love. I'm a prevention worker for iProtect Me.
Good day, my name is Muki. I'm a prevention worker for iProtect Me.
Good day, my name is Rizal Bartman. I'm a prevention worker and a facilitator for iProtect Me.
Good day, my name is Bongani Matoanya. I am based in the northern area. I am a prevention worker for iProtect Me.
Hello everybody, my name is Rapan, based in the northern areas. The reason why I joined iProtect Me, I always wanted to be a social worker in my area, to teach little children from a small age to change the circumstances around them. We're in an organization that's innovative. We reach the community and we make changes within the areas that we work in.
We teach vulnerable adults and school children how to resist abuse by standing up for themselves.
They need protection and they need guidance.
I'm Karen Kim. I'm serving on the CPF of Beaconsfield in the Beaconsfield precinct. I'm the chairperson. Our relationship with IPM, we have a great relationship because we do a lot of programs together. We do a lot of awarenesses together.
Our core function is to work in schools with youth, with women that are being abused at the moment. We've got a victim empowerment program. We've got a peer-to-peer program that's reaching out to youth in various communities. Our programs run from Clary Park until Boyson Park, especially the areas that doesn't get any services at the moment.
I am Mr. I.K. Martins, Principal of Boyson Park Secondary School. IPM addressed exactly what their mission is, to make sure that vulnerable children, families, communities, different genders are addressed in terms of their vulnerability, but to make sure that at the end of the day they are equipped to distinguish between right and wrong. They are empowered.
So we're quite a team of about 8 at the moment, prevention workers that do 5 schools, primary schools at the moment. We've got 3 high schools, and then we've got another exciting project that we're adopting a soccer team at the moment, also to do an after-school program. So in a nutshell, I belong and I protect me because the work that they do resonate with me.
I'm Cedric Frank. I'm a teacher at the school in the position of deputy principal. I protect me in a sense come in to fill a very important gap in our school. They do sterling work amongst our learners. I've seen that they've arranged certain workshops and assisting the learners who experience challenges at home. They really go the extra mile for our learners.
I am Lee, a student of Boyson Park High. I am currently doing TRIC 2021. As we all know, in our communities, lots of things happen and kids are getting shot and stabbed. So I Protect Me was there to tell us that to prevent these things, we have to stand our ground and to make sure we are at all times careful in preventing things.
Okay, the reason why I joined I Protect Me, the vision statement of I Protect Me says we empower all school children and vulnerable adults to resist abuse, to stand up for themselves and for others. So for me, it's important to teach our children from a very young age how to protect themselves and also to empower them with knowledge so that they can be able to identify when abuse is gonna basically happen to them.
I am Cosmo Bartman from the Nelson Mandela District. I am the coordinator of both sport, music, and safety. And what I know about I Protect Me, when I first met them, they came to my office and they introduced themselves. And I said, hey guys, I want you to be part and parcel of the forum. And the forum was called the NGO Safer Schools Forum. And I said, I want your logo, I want you also to be part and parcel of that, so that we can address different and various issues, because they have different expertise and they've got ways and means of dealing particularly with learners. And I love, because I'm in safer schools and they are there to empower learners to protect themselves against all odds, meaning against social ills, how one can make sure one defends himself, or how one can navigate himself in terms of being safe.
We are
protect me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Solon. I think we would love to go to question and answer session because I'm just looking at our time. So the next item on the program is a question and answer session. So we'd like anyone to ask questions if they want to pose question to us. We'll leave the session for that.
So anyone who has a question, please put up your hands by either in the screenshot, but better to do it by in the reactions. There's a little hand up. Oh no, where is it?
I noticed a question from Steve asking about what funding and support do you need and want going forward? Steve, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'm very happy to. Yeah, just to say, I'm super impressed. Thank you, Monica and everyone for doing. I mean, when we spoke early last year, I was saying it would really help if you had the videos that we've just seen, you know, to elaborate the story and hear from the people who've already supported and part of the team. So it's amazing, and congratulations, and also for bringing together this group. It's amazing, and thank you, I guess, for your support. My question is, what do you need and want now, Monica, in terms of going forward? I know you personally are in a period of transition. You know, you can't be at the helm forever and ever. We know that, and you're doing a great job handing over. But what do the incoming team need? You know, what kind of help and support to support over the next 2 and 3 years? You know, what are you looking for from either the people in the room or the people that we can and I can introduce, or when I am able, I might be able to provide myself. And I will just say, I've been having a lot of progress on something called Clubhouse. I don't know whether anyone has heard of this. It's a remarkable thing. It's only at the moment on iPhones, but it's kind of like a real-time radio show where everyone can join in or create their own shows. And the amount of work, a lot of NGOs, a lot of investors, a lot of people in South Africa, but around the world are coming together on this platform. And on this, I host a room 3 times a week at the moment. And it's amazing the people who come in collaborating on how to progress the Sustainable Development Goals. So I've been meaning to get back in touch, Monica, and invite you on and to showcase what you're doing there. But my question really is, what help do you need? Thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. You already have introduced us to Gold Youth to show us how to do peer-to-peer training. They have supported us and we've worked together with them. We are now implementing the program that you introduced me to by connecting me. From the UK, we met here in London, but you connected me to South Africa. Thank you. I'll ask Randall to talk just for a moment about the future and about our need for sustainability. The big thing is we must start working with businesses to do staff training, to earn some money and to, you know, do training of trainers, so that each factory, each shop floor can have training for their staff, by their staff, when they go into a bus at 5 o'clock in the morning and get ripped off along the way when they're walking under the bridge in London to get to the underground and all over the world. We need to get in with businesses for our own sustainability. But I'd ask Randall to talk a bit more about this. Randall?
Yes, let me just also echo Steve. Really, thank you so much for our connection with Gold Youth, our peer-to-peer educational program. It kicked off and it is running very well. The testimony I quickly just gave was actually came from our interaction with the Gold Youth, and they've been very supportive ever since we started with them. So thank you so much for that. Now, I have to say thank you. I already said in the beginning that the members of Cecilia Dames really kicked us off, and almost all the years until now, they've been kind enough to support us with funds. So we've been running quite a tight budget when it comes to our implementation on the ground. I think in that regard, we would like to safeguard and look at not for 1 year, and the conversation that we are having now is how can we move forward looking not to secure our program not for a year, but for the next 3 years, and to find different ways and partnerships, as also Dr. Bruce said. It's not only we need the money to implement our program, we also need capacity building, and we need other networks that can help us move forward. So that this will be either, and I would love to move on the conversation in the clubhouse that you were referred to. So I hope this is giving a little bit of an answer to your question.
We also have a question from Helen. Helen, do you want to ask? Helen Muñoz, ¿quieres preguntar tu pregunta a alta voz?
Sí, por favor, aunque estaba sin grabación. Quería preguntarle si en el transcurso de los talleres involucraron a los padres de familia y si hubo resistencia al cambio, ¿qué reacción se les presentaron con los padres de familia?
So she's asking, Monica, what was, if you have had experience working with the parents of the children in the programs, and what resistance you have experienced, what resistance to change you have experienced from the parents?
Yes, we've worked with lots of parents. We've run many parent workshops over the years. The only resistance I've ever met, oh dear, was we were walking along with the children from the school into the community hall where we were going to work, do some training, and the children were all walking hand in a long row along the pavement and it wasn't far, probably 200 meters between the school and the school hall, and the parents were standing there. And one of the mothers came and pulled the child out of the line and said, "You're not going in there because it's a church." That's the only resistance I've ever had. She didn't want her young Muslim daughter to go into the church hall. So we've learned by that use neutral ground for training. Don't try not to go into church halls or into mosques if you can, because there is that division in the community. Otherwise, I don't think we've had any, Cindy, Randall, I don't think we've had any resistance from parents.
Helen, ¿entiendes la respuesta? Helen?
Gracias, muy interesante. Gracias.
That's an important learning.
Thank you, Helen. Gracias.
Un abrazo y un beso, Mónica, para ti y todo tu equipo.
Any other questions? Simon? You look poised with a question.
No, not really, but I'm very impressed. Definitely very, very impressed. I had no idea that it was so interactive, and that now the University of the Nelson Mandela University wants to get involved. And that sounds to me like a tremendous leap for the project. That they're talking about reciprocity in the community and with the university. And I think you're talking about expanding consciousness, you know, in a really big way for the young people and for for them to start influencing their communities and their society in a positive way. And this just seems to have lit something where they get their self-esteem and they help each other, and it's just, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Simone. I see Professor Paul Stanton is here in the audience. Paul, you were my colleague. You taught me when you were one of the directors of the National Health Service, and I worked with you and I was in your team, and you were my boss as a professor at the university. You taught me, Monica, there are times to speak and there are times to shut up. I'd like you to just show your face.
Yeah.
And for what you've done for us. You taught me a lot. Thank you. And this is the University Connection again.
No, well, thank you, Monica. I can say with absolute certainty that when you first explained I protect me and your ambition for it, I said with absolute conviction and authority, you'll never do it. And it's been a pleasure over the years to see you prove me wrong. I just want to build on that last comment that was made, because you mentioned whoever the person was, and I can't, unfortunately, without my glasses, see your name, but you talked about how this spreads outwards. And I think one of the great lessons, Monica, that you have learned is, although your focus initially is on I protect me, you actually have an impact on the culture of the schools and the places where you work. And because all oppression is indivisible, there is an opportunity to move just beyond I protect me. And I think this happens naturally through the process that you use, where people not only look to protect themselves, but look to protect others. So that the ripple effect of this is not only on giving the individual more confidence in herself or himself, but also it builds a sense of commonality, of a shared responsibility, not just for one's own safety, but for the safety of all of those around them. And I think that is one of the great learnings from this. And I would like to think it would be possible for you to take common cause, as I know you do, with other people who are subject to abuse, subject to not having their voices heard. So I see this as a genuinely a communal and community focus activity, which sows the seed which can grow in many, many directions. So again, Monica, I want to thank you, and Randall. I think it is so important that this work continues, and since none of us are without a sell-by date, we need to ensure that what has been started is carried forward. And I do wish Randall and all of his colleagues every success. Are you going to play the song, Monica, I Protect Me?
Yes, Randall is going to play it. I think Randall and Cindy. Paul, just on your point, thanks. On your point of the ripple effect, there is absolutely no doubt, because it has been, research has proved that where we learn to be resilient and stand up for ourselves, we protect our mates. So the children automatically, because they know how to stand up for themselves, will protect their mates. I, as a woman, can be strong enough to stand up for another woman and say, excuse me, you're not going to do that because I'm with my mate. It's been proved that this happens. The ripple effect is huge. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Monica.
Are there any other questions or comments? Amelia, tu veux dire quelque chose?
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to ask whether in what other organisations existed before I Protect Me in South Africa in relation to stuff to do with sexual violence, and is this a very new idea in South Africa to have this kind of programme? And also the other thing was, how do you think it's different to other kinds of organisations that might exist in other countries? What is it that's special about what I Protect Me does that might be different from other NGOs?
May I answer, Randall, or do you want to answer? The difference is that no, there is no other organization in South Africa or anywhere else, as far as I know, except for Kenya, and I stand subject to correction, and in the Netherlands, where resistance and where resilience in schools is combined with physical self-protection moves. I don't know of any other organizations that do that, where we teach not only the strength of yourself, your focus. The whole program is based on success of other programs. It didn't come out of the air. We studied other programs, like at the University of Cape Town, what the researchers have said over the years, and we pulled in a lot of stuff from the, especially from the state of Victoria in Australia, yeah? But I think what's unique is that I Protect Me has taken resilience training, standing up, focusing, knowing what I want, yeah? And going forward, taken it from paper and did it practically. We haven't got huge and large numbers of handouts. And the other difference is it's not one-off workshops. It has to do, and researchers prove this, repetitive learning changes behavior. So I think that is the difference. It's not just going into an after school and leaving, or having a Saturday workshop and leaving handouts behind. It is repeating, as that alarm clock wakes us up to go to work in the morning. And when the work is over, we still hear the alarm clock because we expect to get up to go to work. That is the trick. And I don't know of any organizations in South Africa that do this. And within school time, we do it in school. The teachers actually give us their life guidance teachers lessons to do it. So we have the 55-minute life guidance class every week, week after week after week after week. And at the end of a term, we've then done one grade, and then we move on to another grade. So it is repetition, not only bits of paper that we hand out. We do hand out bits of paper, but mostly repetition, talking, singing, dancing. Arts and crafts are part of it. You'll see by the song just now that through singing, especially asking the children to rap and put their caps back to front and say, I'm not going to be touched, leave me alone. That is powerful. No, I don't know of other organizations, that are allowed into schools to do this, because we also help with physical education. We can take over where the teachers actually like to go and have a smoke, don't they, when somebody else comes in. So they can go into the staff room and have a smoke and a cocoa or a coffee. Then we are there to do this repetitively, week after week after week. It's 10 weeks flat out. And then after that, we move on. We don't have many children talking about, but we got so many success stories of a girl who got off the bus and surrounded by 4 guys. And she came to a teacher the next day and said, I screamed and I did what I Protect Me taught me and I got away. We got lots of those stories. So does that answer your question, Amelia? Please let us come to schools in London. They need us. And we do peer-to-peer that Steve helped us to get. So the children, especially out of school children, it doesn't matter if they've, done naughtiness, as long as they're not being charged, have a police record for abuse or for GBH. As long as they are clean from that. I'm not inviting bank robbers to come, but if they do, then please come along and we'll teach you how to go and teach your peers to keep themselves safe.
Thank you, Monica. Lydia has a comment. Vincent, I think you had a question also. Lydia,
Hi.
do you want to go ahead?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, lovely to hear you all and see your faces and hear the story of I Protect Me emerging. I wanted to ask the I Protect Me team about the project evaluation that you're currently, I believe you're still going through it. I don't know whether you've finished it or not yet, but it would just help me as the chair of Susila Dharma Britain to understand how that is going, whether there are things that are coming out of that, truths or observations or useful pieces that will help guide you going forwards that you weren't expecting, or things that are pushing you in a direction perhaps you haven't thought of so far, or that sort of thing. I'd be curious to know.
This is the work with Frank.
Yeah.
You mean the development of the monitoring and evaluation framework? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
If I can just come in and answer, Sandy speaking. We are on track. We do have Tivan, this is the assistant to Frank, that's coming through on the 19th, where we're going to do some visitations to the different schools. We already done the schedule for a visitation, set up the focus groups with 3 different groups at the moment. So it's on par at the moment. She's coming through on the 19th of this month to come and do that research work. So thank you for that question.
Thank you. Lydia, do you have something? Take off your mic. You have to put on your mic. Yeah.
Am I okay now?
Yeah, great.
Okay, thank you. My name's Lydia Burton. I was a teacher in an alternative school in Toronto for 26 years, and we worked with a lot of at-risk youth. There is a program existing in Toronto, Canada, called WENDO, and it's Women's Self-Defense. And it was offered at my particular school in 3-week modules, and the kids obtained 1/3 of a credit, which was counted toward a physical education credit. So they could see that they would get a specific academic reward as well as the personal reward of doing this work. And it was very much along the lines of what you're doing there. And it was, not self-defense exactly, well, self-defense, but not martial arts. But it was also changing the consciousness of the students and developing their confidence in themselves. So I just mentioned that briefly. I don't want to take much time of this, but thank you, Monica, for such an inspiring presentation. And it's really great to know that in the world, there are people who are caring and making a difference. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I also want to say that, for us, this is a really unique example of a Susila Dharma project in our network. Susila Dharma means guided from within to action in the world. And I can't think of a more, well, we have many examples in our network. Every project is a story of someone, a Monica. Monica, you are an example of someone who just could not do something about this problem of violence against women and sexual and gender-based violence. And we have to really salute and recognize the courage and the determination of someone who just has to follow and has to keep following this guidance and this direction. and where that takes you. Because when I look at the diversity of us around this, on this screen, together in this moment, I am so impressed with the people that you have brought to this initiative, Monica. Really, it's, you said it earlier, and it's something that we have to remind ourselves, that this is the only way we get things done, is by making these alliances, by making these partnerships with many different organizations which bring different things to the table. And you have done that so beautifully, and I am so deeply moved to see. It's really not a long time, Monica, since 2011. You know, if we are honest with ourselves, 10 years is a short time to have achieved what you have achieved. And I just want to say that I am always amazed and impressed at what you have done, following this guidance courageously to where it has taken you and I Protect Me today. So congratulations from me.
Thank you. Thank you, my sister. I just want to pay special thanks to the partners of everybody here in this room with us, who are not whose faces we never see, but who I know are there in the background, encouraging and arguing and getting fed up with us, but letting us do what we have to do and being there to help us forward. Especially Inika, I want to say thank you. I'm not sure if Inika, Randall's wife, is here, and Jean, Cindy's partner, people I know personally who we never see their faces, but who are stoically behind us. Thank you so very much. And Hamida, your family, all of you. What a privilege we have. How privileged are we to know each other? Thank you.
True. True.
Thank you all. So anyone else have anything they would like to say or share at this time? Solon?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, don't leave without listening to the song that we're going to play.
Song. Let's have a song. I think we all need a song right now.
You can join in.
We will.
Yes, let's sing together. Yes, please, let's sing together.
Okay, I'll put it on. Sorry about this. It seems to have disappeared. I'm going to start again. The screen I wanted to share has disappeared.
Can't share it then.
Why? I don't know why.
Maybe Randall can sing it to us, or someone. Cindy, Randall, Monica.
Yes,
maybe good to say that we've taken these difficult topics and discussions and the literature that Auntie Monica wrote and others, and we've turned it into these kind of songs. Oh, it's ready to be played.
Okay, let's sing it.
All right.
Watch it.
No, it's going to come up in a minute. Randall, can you lead, brother? Ready?
This is my body, this is my boundary. Don't touch my body, respect my privacy. This is my body, this is my boundary. Don't touch my body, respect my privacy.
Protect me, do respect me, don't neglect me or reject me. Don't infect me or dissect me. Please respect me, I protect me. Protect me, do respect me, don't neglect me or reject me. Don't infect me or dissect me. Please respect me, I protect me.
This is my body, this is my boundary. Don't touch my body, respect my privacy. This is my body, this is my boundary. Don't touch my body, respect my privacy.
Don't put your hands on me, don't touch me if you don't know me.
Don't you know it's a free country? I've got rights, don't you diss me.
Don't you know I'm a princess bee? You better treat me like I'm a lady.
Don't neglect me or reject me. Please respect me, I protect me.
This is my body, this is my boundary. Don't touch my body, respect my privacy. This is my body, this is my boundary. Don't touch my body, respect my privacy.
Don't put your hands on me, don't touch me if you don't know me. Don't you know it's a free country? I got rights, so don't you diss me. Don't you know I'm a princess bee? You better treat me like I'm a lady. Don't neglect me or reject me. Please respect me, I protect me.
This is my body, this is my boundary. Don't touch my body, respect my privacy. This is my body, this is my boundary. Don't touch my body, respect my privacy. This is my body, this is my boundary. Don't touch my body, respect my privacy. This is my body, this is my boundary. Don't touch my body, respect my privacy.
Yay!
Wow! Bravo!
That's amazing.
Would you send that around the world, please?
Yeah, I think it's on YouTube.
Unbelievable.
I will send it around somehow.
Please put that on. It is fantastic.
On Facebook for sure.
Very catchy. I really like it.
Yeah, thank you. We're all going to be dancing to that all evening. Good job. Well, thank you so much for coming to this session, and we really appreciate it. We've learned so much, and we want to really thank all of you for your amazing work and contributions and your support to I Protect Me. Because when we walk away from these meetings, it's also good to think in the back of our minds, what can I do to support this project, to bring this initiative to elsewhere? And I notice Olga and Michelle and others in our network thinking, how can we collaborate? And that's what this is wonderful in this situation. We can learn about the project, but we can also walk away and follow up with Monica and Randall and Cindy and think, how do we work together and advance this important initiative? So thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day, evening, night.
You too, Virginia.
Thank you, Solin. Thank you to our translators.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yes, Solon. Thank you.
Yay, Solin. Amazing coordination.
Absolutely.
And all the translators. Don't forget Margarita and Isidro.
Magrus, who was here.
Magrus, who was
prepared
to translate.
He prepared everything, but then didn't translate. But maybe we can use the subtitles that he's done for some of your videos in French, because we have them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Blessings to you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.